All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Backlog Banter. This is episode two, take two of episode two for Tucker Hazel and myself, Abram Buner, our off the cuff video game podcast where we come at you
No
weekly.
cuffs.
No cuffs.
Cuffs are
No
off,
cuffs.
boys.
Cuffs are off.
This is a
Cuffs are
cuffless episode of Backlog Banter.
opposed to the cuff full episodes we
Cuffle.
usually record.
Yeah.
The cuffle episodes. Absolutely. Let's hope that doesn't mean something we don't know about. In the meantime, let's talk about all of the video games that we've been playing, but we're not going to review.
Sure.
All of the news topics we want to discuss that we haven't.
Sure.
Really anything involving this motherfucking video game industry that we want to discuss here casually on episode two of Backlog Banter, the show you can look out for every motherfucking Wednesday on YouTube and coming at you live. Not live. That was a mistake, but coming at you at any time that you would like from Anchor FM,
Yes.
beginning with this episode.
Wow.
That
Are you
was a
going
lot
to preemptively upload the first episode? Because there's not a huge back catalog of episodes here to upload. So I think you might as well just put the first one up at some point.
There's a lot of sense in what you just said, so I'll consider it. I'll
Okay.
thank you for your contribution, and I'll ask you, Tucker, now that the housekeeping is out of the way, not the housekeeping in my home, though, because I ain't my floor. Ooh, it's not clean. But we are going to talk about video games. I'd like you to begin wherever you want us to start.
Well, I'm going to begin. As some famous author once said, at the beginning. Of course. With the first, what?
Well, it's actually really just an inside joke for us because I didn't see the first take of the recording, but you said that exact same segue.
I did.
So
I was just trying to repeat it. And now we sort of broke the fifth wall. So the walls are coming down.
Wall.
You know, there's a lot of walls. But
it's either the ceiling or the floor. It's only 4 walls.
You know, there can be more. What if it's a pentagonal room?
You're a fucking pentagonal room.
All right. The first thing I did this week, speaking of blocks being broken and walls being torn down, Minecraft Steve and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Tried that out. Hopped back into Smash. One of the first times I played Smash in a long time. I might have tried Min. You know, that's up for debate. I can't really remember, which probably means I didn't. But yeah, I probably did. Who knows?
You played 125 hours of fucking ARMS, but you didn't play at least 25 minutes of Min. That's not true.
No, yeah, but you know what? I did play 25 minutes of Minecraft Steve and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I am very happy with the content that they added. I've expressed my satisfaction many a time on Discord, on Twitter. But I have to say, as someone who enjoys Smash, one of my favorite games in general, a great experience. A new character doesn't really draw me back in. I play Smash with friends almost exclusively, and playing 25 minutes of single player Smash, just screwing around with low level CPUs, trying to figure out a new character's moveset. It's not going to change my play schedule of Smash, which is try the characters when it comes out and play it with friends in a party environment.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think that's the way that a lot of people are playing Smash. It's how I'll be playing Smash usually, but I'm just not. I'm not really feeling it right now. Not only because I'm believe it or not a fan of Steve being in Smash Brothers, but just because I'm not being hit with the urge to really hop back in. As we are talking about in the first take of this, I'm kind of hoping against hope, because it's not going to happen, that we get some more substantive content, either in terms of more single player stuff or more online modes, just something that's a little bit larger than just a character, because otherwise I'll sit here and fucking go bonkers with the hype cycle but not really engage too much. I put in 145 hours to Smash Ultimate. I feel like I've put in my fill. So it's now just, it's
You've done your time.
I've done my time. I mean, we all have that rotation of multiplayer games that we hop into as we see necessary, but aren't, the games we're always hopping into. So that's kind of where Smash is sitting for me.
Yeah. And I think that would be cool to see new single player content, but even as someone who does like Smash, I think that would be less likely to grab me even than new characters, because for me, Smash is a fun game to play with friends, but the real specialness of the game and why I think it has its huge fan base and its longevity is the fact that there is hype cycles around characters, unlike anything else in the video game industry. And Smash hype cycles are the reason I am who I am today in terms of video games and consuming internet content and interacting with people online. Like it legitimately has changed my life in a lot of ways, but I can't wait to see more characters. I can't wait to see what happens next, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be grinding back in the game. But
Yeah.
Minecraft Steve, very fun, very unique, very different. It's going to take a while for people to realize the potential. Probably some patches to iron out things that the dev team didn't really expect to happen. But I do think a very great addition to the roster. I can't wait to see it how the character plays in larger party atmospheres where I'm going to be inevitably playing the game with friends. But yeah, no, very happy with all the content. Very happy with the implementation of everything.
Yeah.
Good job, Sakurai. You did good work, buddy boy. I know
Good old
he's been waiting
Masahiro
for my
Sakurai.
approval, but
Of course,
I
it
had to
means a
give it to
lot.
him. Yeah.
By the way, did you see he tweeted out that picture of his cat being perplexed by the Mario Kart Live thing? I was very happy by that. That whole trend on Twitter is making me happy, but Sakurai's cat in particular hits different, and I think
Yeah.
that's just a generally accepted fact.
Sure.
To bounce off of where you were going, here's the thing, folks. I'm gonna be honest with you. This show is for you, but it's also for me, and I don't want to fucking talk about Star Fox 2 again. We
Okay.
talked about it. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. If you want to know my general thoughts on Star Fox 2, fucking follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is down there. I tweeted about it. But the SNES game I do want to talk about, because we didn't really get to it yet, is the original F-Zero.
Yes.
I love F-Zero X. That is the only F-Zero game I've played extensively. I want to play GX. Like I said before, it is one of the few character flaws that I haven't played that game. So I'm going to rectify that shortly. But right now, I have access to the original on SNES Online.
Yep.
And it's fucking hard, but I really enjoy it. It's a little bit different. It's stripped back mechanically as you would expect from X. The biggest thing is that there's a power meter, right? And as you bonk into people, as you hit walls, your power meter goes down a little bit. In F-Zero X, which is really cool, your power meter also goes down when you boost. So your boosting it'll cut down your meter, but it'll give you that speed. So it's an interesting risk versus reward. Here, though, you gain a new boost every lap. So you cross the line, you get another boost, which is cool. I prefer the system in X, but this adds a different strategic element. And I think the tracks here are narrower. They're a little bit more demanding. So I probably wouldn't even really be wanting to use boosts that much because I'm already having a fucking difficult time enough staying on the goddamn road.
Yeah.
But it's a really compelling game mechanically. Its aesthetic is fine. It's whatever. It's SNES. I think there's a charm about it, and I think it holds up a lot better than like a Super Mario Kart does.
Sure. Yeah.
And I would consider this probably the definitive racer on the platform.
Yeah.
And
I'm not sure how much competition there is. I honestly could not name any other.
Well, good old
racers that
Andre
aren't-
Segers would say it's Stunt Race FX.
Oh, I have heard of that
And
one.
Super
Yeah.
Mario Kart. People really like Super Mario Kart. I don't understand. It just feels so antiquated. But this, though, by contrast, feels really playable.
Oh, we're on a cutout. Yeah.
But really, my point about Star Fox.
No.
No, it's not Star Fox. It's
Refresh.
F-Zero. Refresh. I've wiped the slate clean. I've used that fucking chalkboard eraser. I've clapped them together. I'm coughing in the dust, but it's clearing my mind. Because what I was trying to say is that F-Zero, even today, I think is a really playable and really fun racer. And it's just really compelling me to try to get better at it because I suck. The game is fucking hard.
Yeah.
I just want to hammer that home. It's hard. But it's very rewarding. And I just really think F-Zero in general is underrated.
Sure.
And once I've played a lot more of this and I've gotten a better handle on it, I am going to pick up a copy of GX because I've always heard such incredible things about it. And I think I'd really love that game. But in the interim, I've been playing some of the original and really, really vibing with it.
Cool. Yeah. No experience with it. I can put it out there right here and right now. I don't find racing games to be compelling. I don't like getting good at games either. So a hard racer, just sounds exactly opposite of what I find entertaining in video games.
It's certainly not a Tucker Hazel game. I think it might be worth at least just dabbling in for a couple minutes to get a feel for it. And I think it's a lot more single player focused than a game like Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So that might be a little bit more inviting for your play style.
Okay.
But I'd implore you to at least give it a shot.
Yeah, sure.
A good little 15, 20-minute session. See if you get hooked by the speed, if you end up having a need for speed.
Okay. Well, that actually, you unintentionally segued very nicely to the next segment that I was about to discuss, which is a day of video game playing in which I played about 15 to 20 minutes of a bunch of different games.
We all have those days.
Yeah. And this was because I was doing a test stream. I had just set
Okay.
up our Twitch account for the first time, and I was trying to figure out how that worked. And I was trying a couple different games to see how different games reacted to the fact that I was streaming. So I played about 15 to 20 minutes of Among Us, which was
Okay.
one of my first times playing by myself. I think the first time I ever played a game by myself, and I really did not know what was going on. Sonic the Hedgehog 2
Great game.
and Minecraft. Um,
Great game.
so starting with Among Us, which I talked about last week, this is a game that I would like to play more. I think that once you understand the game better and know the maps and know what to look out for in the environment and the interactions of other players and how the chat dynamic works, then you start like having a good time with it. But let me tell you, as someone who doesn't know what's going on, I just was mostly confused the entire time. And there's video evidence of that on the internet with the failed test stream sitting on our Twitch page. Did not really work for me. I'm going to be playing it a little more next week. We've got a group stream coming up with a couple other people, and I'll hopefully understand Among Us a little better before I host a group stream with other people. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to play it with you at some point. I think a backlog banter Among Us stream would be good content.
I think it would be good content. I'm also compelled by the idea personally of just never really knowing what Among Us is. Because I've never played it, I've never seen footage of it. Frankly, I don't know how I don't even fucking have the first concept of what the gameplay is. It's just this bizarre enigma to me. And there's something fun about that.
Yeah, well,
What is not an enigma to me though is Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
yeah. All right,
That game
moving on.
fucking rocks.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I played a lot of this when I was a kid. Probably only the first world and a half.
Sure.
Of Green Hill Zone.
Zones.
Or no, is it Emerald Hill Zone?
You fake fan. God, I don't know either.
Emerald
I'm
Hill
a fake
Zone.
fan.
It's one of them.
It's Emerald Hill, I believe.
Yeah, Emerald Hill Zone and Chemical Plant Zone. But I was playing this on Steam, which is free or was free when I downloaded it. Super special Sega sale, and they're just like, here, have Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on Steam for free. So I downloaded it. I was trying that on stream. I don't like Sonic. I don't think that the levels are fun to explore. I don't think the platforming is fun. It's a fine game. I just don't feel compelled in the slightest to play.
You're really shooting from the hip with that one.
Yeah.
See, that's a lot of people really do feel that way. I'm on the absolute opposite side of that. I really love Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And the reason I do is because I really like the momentum, and it's not an explorative game at all. It can be, but it's about going fast, as the blur is wont to do. And I find that compelling. I think it's a nice counterpoint to a lot of other platformers that are a little bit more methodical. So I like hopping into a zone and just fucking blitzing through it. It's just a completely different appeal than a lot of platformers. I think that's part of what makes Sonic fun and still feels so fresh today. And I'll always Sonic Mania, I really believe, is the best Sonic game.
No, yeah, and I agree. I actually beat that game.
It's a good one to beat.
Yeah, it's a fine game, but it's more of the Sonic formula that I just do not find appealing. So yeah, I guess that's why I only played 15 minutes of it. I was like, oh, Sonic, and then I tried it, and I'm like, oh, Sonic.
That's fair. That's good reason to stop after 15 minutes. Hating the game.
No, I wouldn't say I hate it. I don't feel engaged when I play it. I just mostly feel annoyed. But I mean, I'm totally willing to put more time into it. I do own the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 cartridge on Genesis, so maybe eventually, if I'm on a retro kick and I want to sort of tackle something on an original cartridge, I can pop that in at some point. But Sonic the Hedgehog 2 does not get a recommend from Tucker Hazel. I'd like to end this trilogy with Minecraft. Mostly I played that because I was trying to do a test stream, because we did a test stream a while back and Minecraft completely fucked over the stream, which that content is long gone because Timo didn't want it to be up. But testing it and getting back into Minecraft and just screwing around, Minecraft's great. Hard to say anything more about it. Had a good time when I played it. I really would like to get back into it in a more substantial way. I think that game is leagues better when you're on a server with friends, and that whole dynamic is one of my favorite aspects of video games. That's the only multiplayer persistent world game that I've ever really gotten into, and I think starting a Minecraft server is one of my New Year's goals next year. I want a Minecraft server. Not hard to do. That's a pretty easy New Year's resolution. But
That's a very New Year's resolution. I haven't played Minecraft in a robust way since probably 2014.
wow, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's a fucking different game than when I started playing.
I would say so. I mean, especially considering the updates coming out next summer, the updates that have come out recently. There's a lot of new stuff to check out. And I think that would be really fun to get your perspective on because I do think that the game is almost objectively improved in a lot of ways. And there's so much more
Cool.
that you can do. But hopping into something that you do not know anything about in a game that you are familiar with, I think that would be pretty cool. And I'd love to be along on the side with you and hold your sweet little hand as I
We'll make
guide
that a
you.
that's a plan then. A
All
little
right.
backlog banter Minecraft adventure.
That would be
I'm
great.
down. I'm very down. We if it's not crossplay though, we have to play on Switch. It's sim. I think it is crossplay, but
We'll find out.
why would play anywhere other than Switch? I don't know. Frankly, I don't know. I have no idea. It's foreign.
All right. Well, what else you got? There was my holy trinity, my unholy trinity.
Well, there's a game that I played and finished and expected to talk about on BLB, but ended up doing a review for, which we had to take down because
Yes.
I exported it without audio. But hopefully by the time you see this video, that one will be up again. And that, of course, is Mafia Definitive Edition. I'm
Yeah.
not going to talk about it in a very robust way here. We're just going to put a card in the corner to my review, which you can go check out.
Yeah.
Which is just me blibbing and blabbing to the camera by myself for literally 13 minutes flat, which is fucking cool.
Impressive.
You know fucking
Yeah.
cool. About that
No
game.
way
I
you
really
could have
loved
edited that to make that true, but
it. Do you really think I've got enough command over fucking editing tools to be able to do that?
crop 3 seconds off. No, of course not.
But I loved it. I really loved the game. I currently have it sitting as my fourth favorite game I've played in 2020.
Wow.
And yeah, and as I get into in the review for all the reasons I love it, my general thesis is it does a really nice job balancing its quieter character moments with its bigger set pieces. I don't know if you've seen the film Gangster Squad. You probably haven't, with Josh Brolin and Ryan Gosling. But that's the gangster aesthetic, but only the action portions, right?
Okay.
It's not that, and that's kind of what I expected going in.
I've never heard of that.
It's fine.
Reference is going 10 miles above my head.
The basically the point is I expected a purely cover-based shooter with chases, and that would be the game.
Mm-hmm.
There are large portions that are that, but it's a lot more thoughtful of an experience. You do a lot more than just shoot and chase around people in cars, which I think makes the game uniquely compelling. And I think the storytelling framing is interesting. The characters are really charismatic.
Sure.
It really flew under a lot of people's radar, and I think at the $40 price point, it's really worth jumping into.
Yeah.
The $40 price point, shout out to the $40 price point, by the way. Mafia, Star Wars Squadrons, Crash Bandicoot. It's a hippity hopping in place to be.
Sure. Yeah. I've never bought or played any of those games, so
I keep forgetting you haven't played Squadron.
No, yeah, I have not.
I will be playing that more when I get back home and I have my PSVR.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't get to talk about in the video was Zombie because it hadn't broken yet.
Yeah.
This game is getting no post-launch support.
Yeah, no, we talked about that last week on this show.
Well, then I'm going to refer you to last week where I probably said that was an incredulous move.
Yeah.
I'm incredulous. I wish that game got an actual post-launch support, but that's besides the fact.
I wish you used words that I knew what they meant, but you know what?
Incredulous.
That is beside any points. I would like to hop back to a game that I was just sort of getting back into. A little bit of dabbling, and that is Animal Crossing New Horizons with its fall update.
Okay.
I played Animal Crossing 4 days last week, just in little 30-40 minute bursts to try to get back into my island, make sure everyone knew that I was alive. They're all saying things about how I haven't seen me in a month. They were wondering if I was dead. That was fun. It just sort of picking up on planting pumpkins, which you can buy from Leaf, and harvesting those, which I think is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing how things had been themed in new ways around fall and Halloween and pumpkin season, and as well as the changing of the colors of the leaves and the grass and all that, I think is very cool. One of my favorite touches of this game as I've played it over time is the fact that the weeds change based on the season, and it gives the world just a small touch for a new flavor. And I think that's a really cool touch that I'm very glad that they included. But I'm more so looking forward to playing it as it gets closer to Halloween, because I know that
Yes.
there's going to be more content dropping there, or being involved more with Jack. And I don't know. I think it'd be fun to get your impressions on it, and I'm just excited to see where the game goes, because we are going to be getting another update for Thanksgiving, and then another update for Christmas. So,
So I have played the fall update a little bit,
mhm.
closer back to when it launched.
Okay.
And I really like the content added, but I think we're getting to a point where the content added is not enough to sustain me over multiple days.
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way, where I'm gonna start playing again like the 28th, so
Yeah.
I can grow some more pumpkins, because I made a little pumpkin patch. Pretty happy with it. Put a fucking fence around it. Don't mind me, little fucking exterior design magnate. But I made my little pumpkin patch. But I just feel like I want bigger content.
Yeah.
And if it's not bigger, I don't. I would say if not bigger than longer, I don't. We're going into dangerous territory. But the fact is, something that adds longevity to the experience.
Sure.
I write a lot about Animal Crossing for CBR,
Yeah.
like a fucking ton about Animal Crossing for CBR, and I was trying to think of different ideas for that second fall update.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Um,
yeah.
and one thing that I think could be really compelling, and the sort of content I want more of, is in past Animal Crossing games on Toy Day, you had like your villagers would drop you hints, and then you would have to get the gifts they want and give them to them. You kind of working with Jingle. But in this game with crafting, wouldn't it be so cool if you're basically like one of Jingle's elves? So you collect what people want. You have to, you talk to them, get their little Christmas wish list. And then you actually build the toys with Jingle, and then you
Yeah.
distribute them. I think things like that engage you for longer periods of time, where you need to be playing, for like 2 weeks to collect everything, to build everyone's presents.
Yeah.
Things like that, I think it would engage the player on a longer term level. I don't need them to add the ability to fucking colonize a new island, right? It can be small content that engages you in little increments.
Yeah.
Anything like that, I think, would be really compelling. And I just think that this update was lacking that a little bit.
Yeah. And we'll just see how they continue to pump this out, because I think that this is probably the smallest update that we've gotten. It's more of just like thematic stuff, the pumpkin growing being really the only major addition, as far as I know. But I do think that there probably will be bigger stuff. I think that I would expect some sort of cooking mechanic to come around Thanksgiving. And then I do think that involving the crafting mechanic into the updates, like you were saying with the Christmas concept, that's a really cool idea. And I would totally be down for that.
Yeah. As usual, I'm really at just the precipice of good ideas,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
games
of course.
journalism, as per the usual arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, as we've talked about on this channel, I've grown a lot fonder of Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Yeah,
So I'm excited. I'm just excited for those updates to really start adding more.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, that's where I'm sitting. Do you
yeah.
want me to? Do you want me to hit you? Do you want me to hit you with a game I haven't played yet, but I have installing on my console right now?
Okay,
My PlayStation 4. This also relates to a piece I was writing for CBR.
okay.
I
I
found
don't
out
read those, not gonna lie.
that doesn't matter. But the point is, I was writing about how the Avengers game should have just been a Miss Marvel game,
Mm-hmm.
because Crystal Dynamics makes great single player adventure. I bet you see where I'm going with this one. They make great single player adventure games, such as the Tomb Raider reboot games.
Okay,
So in light of that, I reinstalled Rise of the Tomb Raider,
okay.
and I am very excited to hop into that this evening.
Interesting. For many, many, many reasons.
What's most curious about that?
Well, it's interesting to me that you were even thinking about Avengers post
Sure.
our review of it, Card in the Corner, or that you would be going back to Tomb Raider. What is that? That's a second
That's the second.
Tomb Raider. Have you played the original Tomb Raider
No,
reboot? Yeah. See, there's a lot of reasons. This
but I
is
have completed and reviewed the third.
this is interesting for so many reasons. I don't see you getting into that game more than dabbling in it tonight. Not gonna lie. You're gonna come back next week and be like, I tried it and then I got distracted by fucking Hey Pikmin or something. Who knows?
Hey, Pikmin.
I
That's
don't
a
know. I
wonderful
have no
reference.
expectations for you, not gonna lie, but
Basically, the way I'm feeling is that coming off of Mafia Definitive Edition, I'm in the mood for another third-person adventure game,
okay.
and I want something that's um, a little bit more puzzle heavy, a little bit more about exploration, and that's what these games are. And in light of me talking about Crystal Dynamics for my piece and having this game through PS Plus, I was like,
Yeah,
it's a small file. I'll reinstall it quickly.
sure.
I'll hop into it and see if it really hooks me. Because the last time I played this game was when it came out in 2016, which, if you remember, was just after Uncharted 4. And this game does not look particularly hot next to Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Um, but
But
when
now
I
removed from that, you'd
removed
be good.
from
Yeah,
that, I think I'll be able to see the merits of it more because I really enjoyed Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
sure.
And Shadow of the Tomb Raider doesn't have the polish that Uncharted does, but I think Uncharted just cast an unfair comparison.
Yeah.
Because for as similar as these games are, they do a lot differently. These games are a lot more open. They're a lot more about puzzle solving. They're a lot less of an action movie like Uncharted is.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think removing myself from that context, having enjoyed Shadow back in 2017, I believe that game came out. It could have been 2018. It came out a while ago. I think I could enjoy Rise more. I think it might just scratch just the itch I'm hoping to have scratched.
Yeah. There are. Let's just hold on. Bounce it right back to Tomb Raider. I played the original Tomb Raider reboot. I had a really good time with that game.
Sure.
It has since become rather forgettable to me. I've played so many games since then that have just blown that out of the water. But I do think there are solid games there. I just don't necessarily think they do anything particularly well enough or special enough to warrant randomly playing when they're not the hot thing with the zeitgeist around it. But you're the guinea pig here. You're the experimentee. So we'll see what you think.
I prefer the term cultural tastemaker.
Okay. Well, I don't think you're going to inspire anyone else to play Rise of the Tomb Raider alongside you. But you did inspire me in a couple of ways. These last two games that I want to talk about, I'm going to do a couple quick shout outs real quick. These aren't full segment discussions. Super Mario World, I played and beat it in under a day. A review card in the corner. That was last week. I kind of already forgot about that, but we have a review out, so go watch that. Refer to that for our opinions. Which we also decided that Super Mario Bros. 3 was the better game, the better classic 2D Mario game, which eliminated our need for the planned discussion of a 3-part discussion in which we end it with the debate. But oh well, c'est la vie, as they say in French.
I did say something like that.
Yeah, something similar. But I also played and I started these games, which are going to have to be put on hold because we have a couple of projects in the works. But Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest, as you talked about last week, I started and played that in 2 different sessions. And what do you got to say about that one?
Well, I beat that since we recorded last.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to bring this up. So let's just talk about that. Yeah. Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest, which, by the way, I thought that was a joke. I thought someone had made that up. But that's the actual name.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day. DKC 2.
I beat it.
You did.
And I'm still ruminating on it.
Okay.
Because last week I made a big claim.
You did.
I fucking swung for the fences when I was talking about this game last week. I said that it might be the best 2D platformer in Nintendo's catalog. I no longer stand by that.
That's a large bat to be swinging anywhere.
It's a large bat to be swinging. I no longer stand by that. And I'm curious how you feel having just dabbled in the game. Mm. I think it's a game of incredible highs and incredible lows.
Okay.
I think that the game is uniquely frustrating in some ways that the first one isn't.
Sure. There
are some missions where you play as the animal friends instead of on top or beneath them.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. And they invite some, I think, fairly frustrating missions. There's one that I tweeted about that got me in hot water with the apparently vibrant Donkey Kong Country Twitter community against a gentleman named King Zing, where you're playing as the bird Squawks. And it just becomes frustrating. I think Donkey Kong Country 2's problem is that it starts to do something similar to what we talked about in our Super Mario Sunshine review, card in the corner.
Okay. Not sure how many cards we can have, but I'll link it down below if I can't.
It's the thought that counts. where the game tends to introduce one-off ideas that don't feel like they're implemented properly.
Sure.
And there's various things. A lot of them manifest with the animal buddies. There's some recurrent gimmicks I'm not crazy about, such as the honey levels inside these beehives that I think really just don't feel right. I don't like the way that they control. So I found myself in the back half of Donkey Kong Country 2 becoming fairly frustrated by the game.
Sure.
But I don't think that undercuts the fact that overall, on the whole, it's a very creative game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has a lot of personality. There's a lot of charm here.
Yeah.
And centering the game around lesser known DKC figures, bringing new characters into the fold, I think gives it a really unique identity. And the levels that are good are really, really good. They've got such interesting theming. We
Yeah.
talked about theming a lot in our first review for DKC 1, but theming here is taken to a new level. It maintains cohesion while feeling even more varied. So there's a lot to like here. I just think it was undercut for me by some really frustrating levels in the second half of the experience.
Yeah. I am almost done with the second world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I lie. But I am currently on a similar train to where you were swinging last week. I do think this is a fantastic game that I'm enjoying a lot more than I expected to, especially not being as hot of a fan of DKC 1. But you're making me tentatively excited about playing the rest of the game, which I do want to complete. But yeah, I don't know. I'm having a great time with it. I can't give my full thoughts because I haven't played the full game, but I'm glad you beat it, and it's interesting to hear your dynamic change so drastically over the course of the week. But obviously, you actually completed the game, so that would
Yeah.
warrant changing your opinion.
And it was the pendulum that swung too far last week. I don't dislike the game. I like Donkey Kong Country 2. It's just that I don't love it, and I
Yeah.
think it's a more reasonable place to sit.
Sure. Yeah. But that brings me to the game that I started about 40 minutes after I started Donkey Kong Country 2. Not similar. Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes.
I started that game same night as I started DKC 2. I'm going to be interested to talk about this game as I play it more.
Sure.
I don't know if that's one that we eventually want to do a review of just for shits and giggles. But just talking about it now in the regards of it being something that I've only played one session of, and I have no experience with Final Fantasy, and I have not played many action RPG games, Bayonetta, DMC, none of that. I don't get this game. I'm not really liking it in almost any capacity. I think it has good visuals, but I just wish they were more cartoony. I don't really like the cartooniness juxtaposed against the grittiness. I don't find the combat that interesting. I don't really like the characters. The level design's not great. I like the world design. The enemies are cool.
I'm trying to think back. The game begins with you. It begins in the Mako reactor, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
And I've played the first 2 chapters of the game.
Okay. It's interesting you say that because the demo that was released on PSN before the game launch is that first fight up until you fight what is it, a scorpion?
Yeah, the big scorpion
dude?
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the demo ends, and that sold me on the game entirely.
Okay.
My engagement with this game is very peculiar because I don't like JRPGs.
Yeah.
As we've talked about, but I really, really love this game, and I'll be curious to see if it hooks you as you play more.
Yeah, no, I'm certainly tentatively putting those on because there have been plenty of games where I start it and it takes digging into the systems and being introduced to the mechanics. I'm on the bare bones of the mechanics right now. I have not gotten any quests. I've not gotten a chance to explore. I don't know the lore at all. It's basically just Barrett ranting about eco-terrorism. But no, yeah, I'm gonna play more of the game.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how your opinion unfolds as you do, because by contrast, for me, as soon as I play that first mission, that's what I needed, and I'm just curious what if there's going to be. I can think of a couple key points that I will not spoil, where that might be okay. Here's where I get snagged. It'll be a question of if you want to get there, and I think it's totally fine not to. I also think it's important to remember that this is a fairly short game, especially for JRPG standards. It's about 25 hours long.
Sure.
Which I think makes it a lot more manageable than something like a Persona 5 Royal.
Yes, of course.
Shout out to my little boy Joker here that I just bought this week.
Mm-hmm.
which I love, but I'm just never going to finish, unfortunately.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think this is. I think you could probably finish FF7R if you feel compelled to,
Yeah.
and I think it'd be fun to talk about it at the end of the year. Make almost like a is this game worth a Game of the Year nomination type of
Sure.
discussion,
Sure. Sure.
because I think a lot of people would put it up there. I'd put it up there. It's not my Game of the Year. Everyone knows what my Game of the Year is.
Yeah.
It's your Game of the Year too. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. But I really love this game. I've actually been toying. I don't even want to. You're gonna make fun of me, but I've been really toying with the idea of playing the original Final Fantasy VII
Why would I make fun of you for that?
because you
I'm
oh,
honestly more compelled to play that one than I am the remake, to be 100%
that's very
honest.
interesting. That's very interesting to me. There's some people like Colin Moriarty. Shout out to one of the best people in games journalism, in my opinion. Big fan of Colin Moriarty, who says that you can't properly enjoy Seven Remake until you play the original.
Yeah, and I think
disagree,
that's what
but
that's. Well, I obviously disagree with that, and I think that's kind of what's going through my head. Is I've played the first hour and a half, I want to say, of Final Fantasy VII on Steam a couple years ago. I don't remember any of it. I know the characters' names, but that's about it. I am going through this world. I am going through watching the cutscenes and seeing things that I'm sure are references that I don't understand. And I think it's probably really cool to see something be transferred from the original, if you're familiar with it, into the remake and be like, oh, I remember that. And look how they redid it. But as someone who's playing this for the first time and does not have the experience with the original, I'm mostly just confused and I haven't gotten deep enough into it to really understand what I'm getting into.
But I'm also just a humongous fan of cyberpunk, so the aesthetic immediately spoke to me. By the way, this game, I don't want to use the term ripoff because I think I could be sued in court. Square Enix, Tetsuya Nomura, please don't sue me. But I think he ripped off Akira, having watched Akira twice in the past week. There's a lot of blatant similarities, which as a fan is like fucking cool. But a lot of it just spoke to me before I even got, to use a phrase I fucking hate, on the sticks.
You use phrases that you hate all the time. I would like to issue a challenge to Abram Biener to either come up with new phrases and stop saying I hate this, then using it, or just stop using the phrases that you hate and just shut the fuck up for once.
Yeah, but they're good phrases. That's the problem with them.
Why do you hate them?
Because they sound dumb. I don't like cliches. They sound dumb. But I also love the combat in this game. The last thing I want to say right now, because you open up the fucking flood. I have a valve up here, like the Valve man himself. And if you twist it a little bit too far, I started talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. I love the combat in this game. You said that you mentioned Devil May Cry, which, by the way, not an action RPG, but that's like a character driven action hack and slash. That's as pure action as you can possibly get.
Okay.
But this game trends a lot more in the action direction than the RPG direction, which I think is cool. It's a mix of more, it's actually not really combo based, but it's a mix of real-time aspects with the fucking ATB menu where you hit the goddamn button on the D-pad and everything freezes. And then Cloud's like, hey, look at my fucking Buster Sword. You use your goddamn magic and go Hia over there.
Yeah.
The game made me feel the way that little kids felt playing the original Final Fantasy. That game was so pivotal in introducing people to the JRPG genre. And it came at a time when a lot of games media were kids. For me, this feels like what they felt. Okay. I just feel a sense of awe. There's a coolness about this game that really attracts me.
Yeah.
The way you freeze time and fucking use your spells and things of that nature.
Sure.
I love this game. I fucking love this game.
Yeah.
Probably the only JRPG, not Pokemon or Fire Emblem, that I'll ever beat in my life.
Do you got any other games to talk about? Because that's the last game that I played this week. That is not one of the games we're working on.
I know we've got some secret
embargo with.
We are actually embargoed. We got some secret shit in the works. You'll find out about it very soon. No, not going to talk about them again, but still playing Clubhouse and Mario Kart. Yeah, those are my two recurrent games. But yeah, the only other thing, because we talked a little bit last week about games we want to be playing.
Okay.
I keep toying with the idea of fucking buying Metal Gear Solid on GOG.
Yeah.
And the dam is just going to break, and I'm going to do it. At some point, but I'm buying tickets to a virtual Black Bear concert this week. So okay. I don't think I'm going to spend the money on it this week. Because Crown Tundra comes out on Thursday.
I'm going to let you know. No one's talking about that. I haven't heard that mentioned once. You could tell me it was coming out next month and I would have believed you.
You will get Crown Tundra content from one Abram being on the back.
This is an odd recording session, ain't it?
I think it's been good.
Oh, it's been good. Yeah, no, I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying. It's a fucking fever dream. I'm gonna wake up tonight and be like in a cold sweat and be like, did I record today?
We're still talking about the trial of the Chicago 7 after
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I know.
But yeah, I mean that's basically where I'm sitting. That's been my week in games.
Yeah,
My nose
no,
is itchy.
I'm a little bit more down on gameplay as of last week. I've talked about a bunch of games, although I played for a particularly long time. I have a problem. I'm gonna put this out there. I have a problem in which I cannot balance my interests properly. This is something that has plagued me for many a moon, many a year, many a season. Is that when I get into something, I get into something, and I don't do jack diddly else. There was a period of time in this beginning of this year, probably around the start of quarantine, where I barely played any video games because I was watching so many movies every day. And I have not watched that many movies comparatively over the last month and a half or two, because I've been playing so many video games. I watched 5 movies yesterday, putting me at a total of like 9 in the past week.
Holy crow.
So I would say I'm trending in another direction.
Yesterday was Monday.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the fucking weekend. It took me a second.
Yeah.
Holy crow.
Yeah. So I don't know how much that'll impact my overall gameplay the coming weeks. I do realize that I run a video game based YouTube channel now, so it might be more pertinent for me to attempt to struggle myself back and balance my interests properly. So we'll see how that works out. But it may mean that I am offering up less games that I have been playing in the coming weeks until I eventually transfer back to focusing on video games. But that doesn't mean that we can't talk about news, can't talk about other things. And
Yeah.
maybe that'll be the direction that the series trends in for a while. But we'll see.
And I think that's totally fun. There's no sense. There's no sense to force yourself to play something you don't want to play.
Yeah.
And of course, I'll be fucking playing. Oh, you have Rise of the Tomb Raider to talk about next week. You have fucking Crown Tundra to talk about next week. You know me.
I do think that I want to end this episode, this lovely episode with my lovely co-host with a quick question.
Okay.
How was it playing Star Fox Assault? Because that's what we ended the last podcast with, you saying, I'm gonna play this game, monkeying around, being a fucking asshole. But how'd that go?
So I played one mission of it. It's not the conditions I need to play the game in.
Mm-hmm.
We had fucking adapter banter last time.
Yeah.
Showing off all the fucking adapters we have. Just my setup is not equipped to play GameCube games right now. My monitor automatically puts them in 16:9, so they look weird. When I use my audio adapter, I can't adjust the volume, so the volume's not right. There are fucking 18 bajillion cords on my desk, my college desk. It's about as wide as my fucking torso. You know, it's just not optimal.
Yeah.
So you will have Star Fox impressions beginning of December when I'm back home.
Wow, there's a lot of things you're gonna be working on. A lot.
So I was playing Earthbound fucking Ocarina of Time too, didn't I?
Yep.
That's fine. But then I'll have my comfy chair and my TV and audio, you know.
What? Sound in a video game? Are these talkies? Talkie video games?
Well, I think that's about where we should end the fucking.
Yeah. All right. We're running out of steam, but I think that will drive us into what?
Steam. Codename Steam.
Yeah, that was a bad reference. But thank you very much for watching, everyone. I'm gonna play some video games in the coming week. We'll see which ones it ends up being, but that's what the surprise is. That's what the theme of this podcast is.
I'm gonna play Cars 3 Driven to Win.
If you do that, I don't know what I'll do. Maybe someone in the comments can suggest what I'll do if you do that.
Ka-chow.
Ka-chow.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
I feel like we need to have a fucking pep talk before we begin.
From which one of us?
I don't know. I feel like a pep talk would do us good. Do you want to do the pep talk? Or you want me to?
I'm afraid of what might be in your pep talk.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna fucking huddle up and we're gonna beat them. It's a fucking sporting event. Okay, here we go. We're gonna put our hands on our shoulders. And we're gonna talk loudly. We're gonna go hut hike and things of that nature. We're gonna sit here. We're gonna have energy. We're gonna talk about fucking video games. You're gonna have a seizure on camera. We're gonna blame it on Porygon. Porygon will become an enemy of the Japanese state. Children will be sent to the hospital. There'll be an epileptic warning put in front of Pokemon. Porygon's adventure will be banned from Western televisions.
Yeah.
People will begin to resent Porygon's treatment. Porygon
Mhm.
will rise up. He will annex the Sudetenland. And before you know it, he'll be systematically murdering other Pokemon.
Sounds good to me.